So in this module, we'll talk about Ethernet switching. This is module 7. So this module includes discussions about frame, about MAC address. We look into the MAC address table uh, and some of the features that we have in a switch. Also, we look into frame forwarding methods.
When we talk about Ethernet, it refers to a network technology. There are network devices we have that are of this Ethernet standard. Ethernet operates at the two layers in the OSI, data link and the physical. IEEE came up with a standard that deals with Ethernet. It's under 802.3. So technical specifications under this technology are stated here. Another is IEEE also came up with the two sublayers of the data link. Okay. Take note that the data link is in between the network and the physical. So it's a safe. It's like there's two responsibility of the data link to handle the frame going to the network, also going to the physical. So LLC, which stands for Logical Link Control, its role is to handle the frame going to the network, while the MAC, Media Access Control, what we have here are standards and processes that deals with handling the frame going to the physical layer. So again, under the data link, uh, data is being encapsulated. There are added informations on the data, and in here we call it as frames. Okay, data is now called as a frame in the data link layer. So under the data link, we've covered this in the data link layer discussion that it includes the frame includes um, that in the data encapsulation it includes the Ethernet frame. And one very important information in the Ethernet frame is the address. It talks about MAC address, layer 2 address, MAC address, okay? Source and destination to be exact. Also, another component that we have in the data link, which is also a component of the Ethernet, is the error detection, okay? Found at the trailer side. Okay, one example of an error detection mechanism that Ethernet is using is FCS. It stands for Frame Check Sequence. Take note again that um, there are errors encountered during the physical transmission. It happens in our cables. So very important that a data link layer, an Ethernet device, be able to, like a LAN card, be able to detect these errors. Okay? So there are mechanisms we have in our LAN card, Ethernet LAN card that detects errors. And this one example of this mechanism is this frame check sequence. So again, in the Ethernet, contents we have are, okay, preamble, which indicates the start of the frame. We have the destination and the source MAC address, the type and the length, the data being transmitted, and then FCS. Right. Take note again that at the transport during sending, data is being segmented. It is being broken down into pieces. So packet and then frame. It is already being data is already being put into pieces. Okay. In the frame, there's this concept we need to take note that there's this minimum frame and maximum frame. Okay, minimum is around 64 bytes, maximum is 1518 bytes. If, let's say, a LAN card receives a frame that is lower than 64 or higher than 1518, the device, the Ethernet device, like a LAN card, Ethernet adapter, it will discard that. It will drop that. It is to be considered as an error. Okay, so this is one standard that we have in an Ethernet technology. And now we'll talk about the MAC address. So again, a computer will have a MAC based on the LAN card or network interface card. We also call this as an Ethernet adapter. So whatever MAC addresses that we have in the LAN card, that once installed in a computer, that will be the MAC address of the computer. Okay. Its format is in hexadecimal. Okay. 12 hexadecimal digits to be exact. 48 bits total. And there are two parts, OUI, organizational unique identifier, and then vendors assigned. The OUI is identity of the manufacturer. Okay. So each manufacturer, for example, Cisco has its own LAN card. It has an assigned OUI. And then for the vendors assigned, the last six, it is Cisco will assign this. Okay, should be unique. It should be a unique assignment. That's for the vendors assigned. So I have here different formats of the MAC address. Okay, so like in the command prompt, there's a specific format, so as with routers, so as with switches, so as with other vendors. So these are some of the formats that we have in the MAC. Um, uh, in the Ethernet, example like in this case, let's say H1 will send a data to H3. So again, there is that data that H1 will send to H3. Okay. So the moment that it sends to the cable, let's say the switch will forward it to all. We call it as broadcast. Okay. So meaning again that this data intended for 3, all of our computers will receive that. H2 will receive that. H3 will receive that. Also with H4. Okay. So in the Ethernet, what the LAN card will do is it will check the destination MAC and matches its own. If there is no match, what the computer will do is to discard it. What the LAN card will do is to discard. So like this one, its MAC is it's 2 for example, and the destination MAC is 3. So what H2 will do is to discard it. Let's say this one is 3 and this one also is a 3. So there is a match, so it will be accepted. Okay? Take note of this very important concept in the Ethernet MAC. Again, we've discussed this in the previous chapter. When we say unicast, send to specific destination. Example, H1 will send specific to data to the server. In the unicast, what is placed in the source and destination, source IP and source MAC is the IP and MAC of the sender, while on the destination is the IP and MAC of the receiver. Okay. Um, there are a couple of requests that are being sent to all. Okay. So in these cases, wherein the data is to be broadcast or sent to all, what is placed in the destination IP is what we call as a broadcast IP address. We'll discuss this in the IP address discussion. And then in the destination MAC is we have this what we call as a broadcast MAC. Its value is all F. That's the standard. There's also a kind of transmission where we send it to a group. Okay, we call it as multicast. There's that what we call as a multicast IP. Usually it starts with 224, and we'll discuss this in the IP addressing discussion. So this multicast IP in the destination IP is partnered with a multicast MAC. In a multicast MAC, it usually starts with 01005E. We call that again as a multicast MAC address.